Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. I have 3 timelines that I want to share with you that all point to this time frame that we are coming up upon right now, August 28th through September 11th. We have timelines pointing to August 28th, we have timelines pointing to September 7th, and timelines pointing to September 11th. And there's information that connects these dates that I'm going to share with you. And this information is very time sensitive, because we could be looking at August 28th, which is basically tomorrow. Since we're past midnight here, August 26th, now going into August 27th. And so this is why I want to get this out now. We may not even be here by the time I get my main YouTube channel back. So if we pay attention to what's going on in Afghanistan, we're going to see that they're basically on the last 24 hours right now of evacuation efforts. They have been given a deadline of August 28th. It was originally August 31st, but they're really cutting it close right now. And they're in the last ditch efforts to get everybody out before anybody's left behind. Okay, this is a huge piece of information that goes together with all of this, but that's an extra piece that connects to what we're going to see here with these 3 timelines that I'm going to share with you. Now, this is going to be a different type of video because I have to talk softly. I'm talking right into the phone because I'm in the hospital as we're overseeing Daphne's care, and there's nobody here, but I need to keep my voice down, so I'm gonna do this the best I can. Now, I want to take you back. Here's the first timeline. The first timeline is going to connect us with the Revelation 12 sign timeline. Okay? The Revelation 12 sign timeline. Now I'm taking you back to November 16th, 2016. What I want you to notice here, and you can investigate this if you did not know about this, but this was the day that the Revelation 12 sign began, as Jupiter was just entering Virgo. This would be, for example, Conception Day. Okay? Jupiter was just entering Virgo on November 16th and November 17th, 2016. Okay? This was almost 10 months before the culmination of the sign, which took place on September 9th, which was basically September 9th was the birth event, and 14 days later was the complete sign that we were watching on September 23rd and September 24th. Okay, the birth event took place 2 weeks before that. If you notice on the sign, when the sign occurred on September 23rd, Virgo had been out of the womb. Jupiter had been out of the womb of Virgo for 2 weeks. So the actual birth event took place on September 9th. Okay? Now, let's take a look at where we are right now compared to this. Okay? Remember, The Revelation 12 sign began on November 16th and November 17th. Okay, when Jupiter was just entering Virgo. Well, last year, Barack Obama released his book, The Promised Land, on November 17th. Okay, November 17th. Now, if we go forward to the day that corresponds to the Revelation 12 sign, it's bringing us to September 11th. On September 11th, we see this alignment with the sun at the head of Virgo, the moon at her feet, and we have Mars, Mercury, and Venus all in alignment in the constellation of Virgo on September 11th this year. Okay? But then we have a 14-day difference. If we go back 14 days, which was the birthday, okay, is August 28th. Now, I don't see anything special as far as the heavenly sign, how this lines up, but we do know that August 28th was the day that Barack Obama received the Democratic nomination at the altar of Zeus in Denver, Colorado, August 28th. We're going to talk more about this as we approach our third timeline. What I want you to see here is that the Revelation 12 sign started on November 17th and ended with the sign that corresponded to actually the third or fourth day of Tishri, not actually the Feast of Trumpets itself. It was 3 to 4 days later. Okay? And so September 11th is like the third or the fourth day of Tishri. September 7th is the Feast of Trumpets. Okay, this is the first timeline that is pointing to right now where we are coming up upon between between August 28th and September 11th. Okay? Now, the second timeline. The second timeline I shared about in my most recent video about Noah dispatching the dove on August 25th. Okay? Now, I shared about this in my video, and the video explained how the election on November 4th last year was Chesvan 17. Okay? And that's the day the flood begins. Chesvan 17, the 17th day of the second month in the days of Noah, the calendar that Noah was using. The flood began in the fall. And so we have the corresponding day to the beginning of the flood was the election of November 4th. 40 days later was December 14th. This was the key day, as it was the middle day between both great American eclipses. It was the confirmation of Joe Biden through the Electoral College, and it was the first vaccinations in the United States. Huge, huge day with another total solar eclipse over South America, December 14th. If we go forward 150 days, which is 5 months, a total of 150 days from the beginning of the flood, from November 4th, it brings us to Resurrection Day of April 4th, 2021. Okay? Now, let's move forward to where we are now, and we're going to see how the timeline of Noah and the flood of Noah is pointing us to right where we are. Not only the Revelation 12 sign, but the timeline of Noah is also pointing to where we are right now. Elul 10, which corresponds to August 17th, Noah let out the raven Okay? Noah let out the raven. Now, if you are paying attention to what is happening in Afghanistan, the big news in Afghanistan is basically that the Taliban took over the country in approximately 7 days. Okay, they basically took over the country in 7 days. And August 17th was really the key day, that when they took the airport in Kabul, which is where all of the action is right now and all of the evacuations. Everything is being set up right now at the airport in Kabul. Okay? Now, August 17th is the day they took Kabul and they took the airport, and it's the day that Noah dispatched the raven. I don't think there's any coincidence about this. Okay, then we have Elul 17 is August 25th, and that is the first dove. He lets out the first dove, and the dove could not find anywhere to lay his feet. He could not find any vegetation, and he came back to the ark with empty-handed. He didn't have anything to bring back with him. Then we have the second dove released on Elul 23, which is August 31st. The second dove is released, and then the dove brings back an olive leaf. Okay, so Noah knows that the flood is drying up now, and there's vegetation now visible. Okay, through the olive leaf that the dove brings back. Then one more time, 7 days later, which corresponds to the first day of the first month in the days of Noah, which is the first day of the seventh month in the time of Moses, in the calendar of Moses. It works out to be the Feast of Trumpets, when Noah released the third dove, and the dove did not come back, and Noah knew that the flood was over and that the dove found a place to go and live, and so the dove did not return to the ark, and this was the day that Noah opened the ark. This was Tishri 1. It was the Feast of Trumpets. Okay? This is the timeline of Noah. All right? So we have the timeline of the Revelation 12 sign, and we have the corresponding signs from November 17th on both occasions, leading us to the timing of the Feast of Trumpets, the Revelation 12 sign. Now we have the timeline of Noah, and this also lines up with this time frame. Now I have one more timeline to share with you. And this timeline has to do with the timing of Hanukkah, Jesus being the light of the world, okay? And Hanukkah is the festival of lights, the conception event, the timing of the birth of Jesus Christ. Okay, many scholars, many people believe that Jesus was actually born on September 11th. Okay, September 11th. When was Jesus Christ born? The Bible says September 11th, the day of the Feast of Trumpets. This is what many people believe. Okay? Now, we can't go back and prove that to you. We can only speculate based on many things. Number one, the Twin Towers that were taken down in some type of a ritual event, a birthing event. Take down the two to bring in the one, and they had to take down the two towers to bring in the one world freedom tower. And this whole ritual that took place between Bush and then Obama, and it was on September 11th that Obama read Psalm 46 when he said, "Be still and know that I am God." Okay. Now, so we have this time frame between Hanukkah and September 11th, connecting us to Hanukkah and the Feast of Trumpets, right? Now, this was the scenario last year. As we have shown you, this December 14th time frame between the middle point of the two great American eclipses, between the confirmation of Joe Biden, between the first vaccinations in the United States, which was midweek Hanukkah, December 14th, midweek Hanukkah, okay? Then we had the first vaccinations, and this is, if you're talking about, if we're talking about the counter event, or the counter the false incarnation, or the false conception, when the Holy Spirit came into Mary, okay, we have an injection taking place, okay? And so we have this counter activity mimicking the incarnation, mimicking the conception of Jesus Christ by the Holy Spirit. Okay, with the first vaccinations that are taking place, midweek Hanukkah. Now we go forward to September 11th. All right, go forward to September 11th, and we have this amazing sign. Again, it's the Revelation 12 sign. It's the woman clothed with the sun, the moon at her feet. It's not as complete as it was in 2017, but I think that we've seen the Revelation 12 sign in 2017 was such a powerful sign. It gives us the understanding of the importance of the Feast of Trumpets. It gives us the understanding of the sign itself and the general lineup of the planets. Obviously, that was the sign, but we've gone past 3 years, almost. We're into the 4th year right now, and we're still here, okay? But there is a pattern that the Lord has laid out for us, okay? This pattern that the Lord has laid out for us to give us the understanding of the woman clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet, okay? Revelation is showing us there's something about the Feast of Trumpets that we need to understand. All right? Well, this is connected to the conception and birth of Jesus Christ, and now we have the conception and the birth of the Antichrist, based on the whole sign of Revelation 12 is the arrival of the dragon and Satan coming to earth, okay? The whole scenario is the rise of the Antichrist. And this is what we need to understand, and this is what we need to... And now we're here, and we're seeing all of the world events. Who can say that we are not watching the arrival of the Antichrist? Who can say we're not watching the arrival of the beast system? Okay? It's all intertwined. The man of sin, the son of perdition, right? The Antichrist, the beast, the system of the beast, the system of the Antichrist, the system of the dragon, the son of Satan is the son of perdition, is the Antichrist, okay? It's all interchangeable. These terms are all interchangeable and give us understanding. The greater concept is the system that is being set up. Okay? There is a system of the beast, and there is a beast. It's not just the system of the beast, there is a beast in and of himself. So, we have this connection between Hanukkah and September 11th. Now, if we remember that, just as the Revelation 12 sign, okay, remember, 14-day difference, right? It's a 14-day difference between the birth event that took place on September 9th and the sign that appeared on September 23rd. The September 23rd sign was not the birth. The birth When Jupiter left Virgo was on September 9th. Okay, that was 14 days. Okay, this is very important to understand these 14 days. I'm going to explain these 14 days to you. Okay, and I'm going to show you scripturally, and I've showed this before, but we're gonna see it in a way we've never been able to see it before. And I'm going to show you this right now, how all of these dates are connected. Okay, so what we have then is the birth event on August 28th, which is September 9th from 2017, and then September 23rd. But in 2021, it's August 28th, and 14 days later is September 11th. Okay? We've got September 11th, and we've got the birth event 14 days prior. Now, I want to show you the importance of August 28th, which was the day that Barack Obama received the presidential nomination at the altar of Zeus, August 28th. We have September 11th, okay, and then we have November 17th. Now, look at this. Pay attention to this. Very important detail. Connecting. I'm going to connect all three of these dates for you in the birthing ritual of the female child of Leviticus. Okay, what we have here, now Jesus Christ fulfilled, when Jesus was born, he fulfilled the 40-day birthing ritual. It says it right there when he was born in Luke. It says that he was dedicated, okay, on the 7th day, circumcised on the 8th day, but he was dedicated on the 7th day. And then after 33 more days, he was presented in the temple on the 40th day. This is the birthing ritual of the male. Okay, it's a 40-day birthing ritual with 7 days plus 33 days. Okay, and in the book of Luke it says, as it was in the days of Moses, according to the birthing ritual of the time of Moses. So if you go and you look up the birthing ritual of the time of Moses, it's found in Leviticus chapter 12. The male child. But what I'm going to show you right now is the female child, which is the representation of the Antichrist. And I'm going to show you this based on instead of 7 and 33 days, it's 14 and 66 days. Okay? 14 and 66 days, it's the birthing ritual of the female child. Now, let's take a look at the dates that we're watching. The pattern that has been presented here. August 28th plus 14 days. September 11th. What do you get if you go 66 days after September 11th? November 17th. Which in the Strong's Hebrew concordance is Bama, a high place. Just as lightning from heaven, Barak is lightning, Bama is high place. This is the word that is used, a high place, Bama. It corresponds to the date that Obama used to release his book. It corresponds to the date of the beginning of the Revelation 12 sign. Bama. Okay. Well, here we have August 28th would be the birth event. We have a 14-day ritual that takes us to September 11th, which would be a purification event. I think purification by fire, based on everything we've seen in history, even now with everything that's happening in Afghanistan. You see the big plane there with 1109 on it. I mean, I don't know how we can get away from the fact that this whole Afghanistan thing began after 9/11 20 years ago, and now it's all coming to an end just before the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And the plane has 1109 on it. I mean, there's a huge ritual that's taking place, pointing to September 11th. And so if we have the birth event on August 28th, we have a purification event on September 11th, and then 66 days later, we have the culmination of the 80 days. And I don't know exactly how all of this is going to play out. I can't say when the rapture is going to be, when the wrath is going to be, or when the Antichrist is going to come into full power. I mean, we've got three key events that line up with these dates that we're watching that correspond to what we're watching now. We've got the evacuation of Afghanistan that is being pushed up to August 28th instead of August 31st. Okay, we've got September 11th coming up, which is the key day of all of the rituals, 9/11, emergency in the world, and then we've got the day of the promised land of Barack Obama on November 17th. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but I'm showing you how it lines up with the birthing ritual, which also started last year on November 17th, and it also started on December 14th. And we have even the timeline of the Hanukkah to September. It's a 9-month period, see, from Hanukkah, leading us to September 11th. So here is Leviticus 12, verse 5. It says, "But if she bears a female child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her customary impurity, and she shall continue in the blood of her purification 66 days. So a female child, it's an 80-day birthing ritual. And what I've showed you here is that we have a birth event on August 28th. 14 days later, we have a purification event on September 11th. And then we have the full presentation of the Antichrist on November 17th. Okay. And I'm hoping that this is pointing to August 28th for the rapture. I'm hoping for that. Okay. But all we can do is watch the signs and see where all of this is going to be taking us and leading us. And if this is the revelation of the man of sin and the incarnation event, if this is the beginning of the incarnation event and Satan being thrown down to earth, then this would be the timing of the rapture. Okay. And I was listening to someone share about the fact that when we are raptured to heaven, when we're raptured to heaven, Satan can't be there. I mean, Satan is going to be thrown down as we are taken up. It's a simultaneous event that is going to happen. As the rapture takes place and the church of God goes up to heaven, Satan is thrown down with all of his angels, and then the wrath of God is going to be poured out upon the earth. And that is why when the rapture of the church happens, the wrath of God is going to be poured out simultaneous with that, together at the same time. Okay? So, anyway, what I've shared with you tonight is 3 different timelines. We have the timeline of the Revelation 12 sign, we have the timeline of Noah, and we have the timeline of Hanukkah to trumpets for the birthing event of the Messiah. Okay? And I think that the birth of the Messiah and the birth of the anti-Messiah are going to have correlations. And this is what we're watching. The whole scenario of Revelation chapter 12 is the birthing event. It's the woman ready to give birth. It's the dragon that is going to devour the child as soon as it is born. Okay, so I just wanted to share all of this with you. And if we're still here next week and we can continue to search all of this out, then I will share from my main channel once I'm back. But I wanted to get this out because this could be pointing us to August 28th for the timing of the rapture. And this would be the most magnificent scenario because we're just one day away within the next 24 to 48 hours. So I pray you guys are blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.